Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
And I'm your co-host, Ian.
This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
We hope to inspire you with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure.
Our show may not be suitable for young children, but neither is our D&D games. No, none at all.
I can't say that no more. Because I'm writing a biblical testament-style adventure, and it is totally suitable for children.
Oh, wow. We might have to remove that line now.
Well, our show's still not suitable for children, either is
No.
most of our games. So I thought that's interesting, because I'm literally going out of my way to make one that's for children.
Kid-friendly.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'm really excited for today's episode. We are going to be talking about, in our main topic, recovery dice options from total party kill games. I'm super excited for this. I nearly cried tears of joy when I saw it.
He immediately sent it to us.
Just like, look what I found.
He's like, this is so cool, this is so cool, guys. And then we looked at it, I was like, this is so badass, what's going on?
Anybody that knows that's watched the show at all or played any games with me knows that I love to use hit dice as a resource. And so this really expands on that quite a bit.
Yeah, I remember actually the other day I had to remind a player we had hit dice.
I'm dying, I'm bleeding out. Bandage yourself, dude, with your hit dice.
Okay, before we go forward, let's take a short rest. Guys, I only have 2 HP. We need to take a long rest. Dude, just spend your hit dice during the short rest. You'll be okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine. We promise.
We got this. But before we get into all that stuff, if you enjoy the show and you would like to support us, head on over to critacademy.com, maybe check out our Patreon page, pick up one of our best-selling DM supplements. Will you hand me that?
Yeah, actually, we have...
Yeah, look at this.
This right here.
This is so nerdy. So we recently, last week, just released physical copies of our Words of Power, magical words and spell incantations for your 5th edition experience. So check it out.
Want to read out one, I guess, real quick?
I could probably read one really quick.
Yeah.
If you don't know what it is, I basically... We took all the cantrips and all the spells and...
All the way to 9th level, by the way.
Yeah, and gave them incantations and then Latin magical words that you can use with them. So we'll start with a cantrip, right? So you can choose... Obviously, you're not going to want to use like the incantation every time, but sometimes spells are infrequent enough that it's not not that big of an issue. So, for instance, what's a common one people use all the time?
Eldritch Blast.
Eldritch Blast. All right, let's see. That's a cantrip, so let's go
We were like,
take
hey,
a look here.
are you really sure you need to ask that question?
So Eldritch Blast says, destroy, power of the ancient, repti sunt tenebris. So if you're really into the roleplay or as a dungeon master, you want to use these as like monster chants. You totally could, especially when it's in the different languages. So
you could also use it as a this would be such a great tool for DMs, by the way. This is like could you imagine real quick, just like a monster like off in the distance and you just hear the final word Tenebris and it's just a giant cackling bolt of energy goes swoosh and the players are like, what was that?
Well, and it's a good way to hide what the spell is, which I think is what you're getting at, which is fantastic.
Yep.
So combining that with reflavoring, maybe you can give an Arcana check to check it out. But if this is something you're interested, please consider supporting us and picking up. If you head on over to critacademy.com, you can find the link on the main page that'll take you right to our Amazon. You can get it for your Kindle or a physical copy.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I was super excited when I got it. I took pictures and everything because I'm weird like that. Anyway, so there's lots of ways you can support us. So Crit Nation, thank you for joining us today here at the Crit Academy Studios, where everything's made up and your rolls don't matter.
Yep, that's right. Your rolls are like a character without hit dice, which means you can't use pretty much anything that this awesome supplement has.
Yeah, which is a shame.
I feel like if your character doesn't have hit dice, you're either an NPC or dead.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, because I had no hit dice as Raven the Crow, and he definitely survived. Almost died at the end.
You had hit dice, you just
Used
lost
them all. Yeah, I did use them all.
So yeah.
We had a giant dragon giving us the slow breath. You have to believe that I was dodging basically every turn.
Don't let him get me.
I'm like, I am not going to die here.
Dude, I thought of you the other day. I saw a Piccolo meme. You know, you remember when he blocks the big energy beam?
yeah.
And it's just spaghetti that somebody just pushed into the like a little miniature version of Piccolo. I was cracking out.
Oh, I've seen that one
It's a
before.
good
That's
one.
great.
All right, so we got a really exciting episode for you guys today. For our Let's Talk About Blank segment, patron Steve H has sent us a question that I think is interesting, and honestly, it's not something that I've ever really thought of, and because of that, I probably will write something up and put it up on our page at some point. But Ian, what is patron Steve asking about here?
Patron Steve wrote us, I found your show after deciding to convert our home group to 5e.
Okay.
I've played forever, but wanted to get some help, suggestions, and how-to stuff from the internet, and that's how he found our podcast, Grit Academy.
Nice.
And that's how he became an avid listener and watcher. And has led him to other sites like DM's Guild, Facebook groups, YouTube channels, and so forth. Now, the problem he ran into was each of these online resources throw around terms that aren't necessarily noob-friendly, if you will.
Yep.
Okay.
And it took him quite a while to figure out what the heck stuff like TPK means, or min-maxing.
Yeah.
And he would love it if we covered some of these things and what the heck they mean on our podcast, just so some people know what the lingo is, if you will.
So he gave us some examples that we're going to run through, but obviously we can't possibly think of everything right off the top of our head.
Oh, yeah,
Nope.
for sure. There's so much out there.
What I'll do is I'll probably toss together some sort of chart and toss it up on our website as a reference for all those newbie people that may not understand what those... Because honestly, we use those without really thinking about it because we're so ingrained in the system.
In the social media.
So...
We already have computer chips in our brains.
there are
one
no
day.
computer chips in the brains of Americans. So here's some of the questions. TPK means total party kill. DPS means damage per second. That actually comes more from, I think, video games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
technically the proper term is DPR, damage per
Damage per
round,
round, yeah.
but people use
Yeah.
them interchangeably.
Yeah.
And honestly, though, I've seen some people get up in other people's business about it. Dude,
Yeah, it's...
You're the Karens of the RPG tables.
I was going to say get a life, but I'm one of those people sometimes.
Another thing was min-maxing and power gaming. Now, these two are pretty much the same, I think.
I was going to say, I think conceptually they're the exact
Yes
same.
and no,
It
but
comes from min-max means you're minimizing any possible weaknesses and maximizing the character's value. Generally, this means number-wise, I
Yep.
think. Generally.
or getting spells and abilities and options that synergize well together to increase your efficiency.
Yeah.
Or that could pertain particularly to your campaign. So obviously, if, like, for instance, we're in Descent into Avernus. Obviously, because all of us are like, well, we don't want to just make our fire spells useless the entire campaign. We're going to choose something else.
yeah, they're not going to pick it. That would be power gaming right there. I
Yeah.
think that
Well,
would fit in that one.
well, just less power gaming and more metagaming, and which is not a dirty word as some people make it out to be.
That's all. Yeah, I guess that's true, isn't it? But the point is it's similar vein.
You're basically optimizing your character for
Yeah.
mechanical function
You're
generally.
not playing because you're role-playing your character. You're playing because you want to beat everything else.
Which is not
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
Not a wrong way to play.
Like my artificer, for example, I'm like, I could choose Firebolt because that is the most powerful warlock cantrip, but as a player, it's like, well, we're going to hell. There's demons and devils. There are immune or resist fire. My character in game, I could pick Firebolt, but I'm an artificer. I only get so many cantrips, and a crap ton of creatures in general resist or are immune to fire. I'll go with something else.
Yeah. Some other things are session 0. Session 0 is basically the session before you actually start playing. Usually it's designed to, what is our campaign going to be? Who's going to play what? Maybe you roll up your characters in that session. What are the limited rules? Those sorts of things.
Right.
Yep.
I think we've talked about that one quite extensively on a few previous episodes.
We might have.
Tank.
Tank.
Yeah.
Tank.
That's another thing that comes from video games, I think,
I
right?
agree. Yeah.
This one has a few different meanings, but they all mean the same thing. The tank is the guy who wants to get hit so nobody else in the party gets hit because
Yep.
they can
Yeah.
take it.
That's a really good one. I like
And there's lots of different types of tanks. Like there's like the sponge tank, which is like I have lots of HP.
Hit me in face, and I will still continue to get hit in face.
that. I'll just bleed a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's just the types of tanks who have high AC and are hard to hit as a result.
Yes.
My art defense
Crowd
are-
control tanks are another one.
Yeah.
Crowd control
Avoidance.
is
So yeah, that's a good one. I never thought about that.
crowd control is another term that probably most people might, or CC as some people even call it, which is another thing. Crowd control is kind of exactly what it sounds like almost. You're controlling the crowd. Like you are actively like moving the enemies into a certain way, or maybe you're stunning them, maybe you're throwing them, maybe you're moving them into a certain way, maybe you're blocking the door. You are effectively a wall. You're controlling the crowd to go into a certain spot, which is useful for tanks because they can just eat it.
Cartmageddon said SpongeBob tank pants.
I like it.
The one I've actually played only once, but I really loved was an avoidance tank. I played a barbarian that would grapple people and then just take the dodge action.
That makes a lot
That's
of
it.
sense.
He would hold
That's
two
so
people
smart.
and take the dodge action and run them behind objects so they had no other targets in line of sight. And his whole goal was, don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me. But if you do, it doesn't matter.
I kind of did a little bit of both actually on Saturday, where we were in Everness. We came across a bridge, and there was a winged demon there by himself, a very powerful one. And we're mostly paladins, and I went first and went, no! I crossed the bridge, dived at the guy, grappled him, just so he couldn't fly away.
You're like, nope, you can't do
I
that.
dodge.
You know, I should have done it in the hindsight, but I was still using my attack action to shank him just so he would go
God.
down.
Trying to kill him,
Especially since he was focus firing me, because I was the one grappling him.
which is why dodge is good.
I was
Now-
I was down to 6 HP when the fight ended, so...
Dodge is the name of the mechanic, but does not represent what is actually happening. So yes, you can grapple and take the dodge action.
Yes.
I got into an
Yes.
argument with a DM once. Well, you're grappling, you can't dodge. I'm like, I'm not gonna let him stab me while I got him in a full Nelson. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe you're trying to ruffle them around with your arms and push, stop their arms from swinging with your knee, something. Anyway,
I think the dodge action is you are actively thinking about parrying or defending yourself.
Yes.
I like
it's,
that.
It's like a mindset almost.
I
It's
almost
not
wish
a-
it was defensive stance. Like in 4th edition, what did they call it? Total defense.
Yep.
Which is that's all you're focusing on. And that made more sense than dodge, I think. Anyways, so moving on,
Yep.
one of the last ones is action economy. Or turn economy. He says turn economy. I think he means action economy.
Right.
Action economy is one of the biggest things. It doesn't matter how big bad your boss is. If there's only one guy and all your players go first, he's boned. That's action economy. For every one action the boss gets, the characters get numerous, right?
Right.
That's why those are harder to deal with. The higher level monsters that are meant to be more for single fights come with lair actions, legendary actions. That increases their action economy by letting them do other things, other parts of the turns.
And now they have mythic actions if you haven't seen Theros yet. So
Yes!
now the big bad evil guys have more options than ever before. So they now have a higher action economy.
And speaking of what you just said, BBEG, Big Bad Evil Guy.
Big bad evil guys, BBEG. Yes.
Or Big Bad
Look
Evil
at
Gal.
that. We see that was that word that was just used because we're used to using it, not because we think about it. But I will toss together a collection of those. Hopefully that helps a little bit with the lingo. I definitely understand that there's more than that, so I'll get
Definitely a
something
good
on the
question,
side.
though.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
something that it is something we just never really think about. We just kind of use it,
Yep.
right?
So, all right.
Ooh, DPS. Or,
We already talked
we
about that.
we talked about DPS.
right, but not in the sense of that's what the character type.
Oh, okay. Yes, a character like a rogue is a damage per round or damage per second character archetype,
Yep.
where its focus is high damage. Wizards and well, I would say sorcerer more so is all about doing damage while But I feel like in this one most classes can really fill that role,
Depends on how you build them, yes.
which comes
Yeah.
back to min maxing and power gaming your character for one thing.
Or controllers, characters who are not basically meant to do damage, but modify the battlefield in some way. Buffing, increasing
Yeah,
stuff for your allies, making it more
debuffing,
efficient.
weakening them.
Yep.
Almost like a support role.
The more I think about this, the more it does need a list.
Yeah, it really is something
pretty
that
long.
we never think about.
Support characters that help your allies.
Yeah.
That's my favorite role to fill. I will build the strongest, beefiest mother effer, and he won't attack shit. He'll grapple him and dodge, or he'll grapple him and throw him to the ground and let somebody else stab him. Anyways, bards fill that role really well. All right, so
They do.
moving on to our, before we move on to our, let's talk about.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Before we move on to our main topic, we have another gift to give away.
Yeah,
Woohoo!
we have a gift to give away. It's from Lore Smith. If you haven't heard them already, they have the modular dungeon tiles. Specifically, this time we're giving away, though, is the Arcania set. The The modular dungeon tiles are an easy way to create your own beautiful digital maps. The Arcania set in specific lets you make dark, shadowy dungeon maps, rich with the fumes of arcane secrets.
Yeah, if you don't actually know what this is, it's like all these little different segments, like a puzzle piece. So you can fit them together in a matter of minutes and build a dungeon as you're going, or make it in a few minutes before the game starts, and it can be different every time. It's very cool.
Pretty handy stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And if you buy the other sets too, there's literally, you never have to design your own maps. You just say, okay, I'm going to assign each one of these a number, roll them, 1 goes there, 3 goes there, 6 goes there, and you can actually build the dungeon out as you go. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yep.
Who's our winner today?
Our winner today is Django Fett.
I love how
he
he spelled it. and the PH.
Oh, and a PH. I didn't even see
Django
that.
Fett with 2 T's and a PH.
Okay.
There you go. Oh, yeah, the recovery. Yep, sorry.
Hey! Congratulations to Django Fett.
Oh.
If you enjoyed the product, please let Lord Smith know. Maybe pick up one of the other pieces of content to support him. I cannot stress enough how awesome Remarkable Inns and Remarkable Shops is. Some good shit. And I'm not just saying Remarkable Inns because my name's in it.
I mean, I would,
Yeah.
but...
And we already moved on from the topic, but one player in chat did ask about the term Nova.
I've never heard of that.
Nova?
I have. Like, an example would be like Paladin Smites.
Oh, yeah. You being able to unleash a bunch of your power in one burst.
Yep.
So it's like a burst.
One and done
something.
sort of thing.
Yep. Basically, we take a moment to, like, I'm going to do a crap ton of damage all at once, and I can't probably do this again for a while.
Basically, it's like All Might. You'll get the big buff, you'll get your big hit, and then you deflate for the rest of the game.
I always heard of it as like a burst character. Like
Yep.
they're called like burst,
Burst.
something, whatever the term is.
A
in that
Nova,
game,
I
so.
guess Nova's burst.
Nova
maybe,
does make sense
it derived
though.
from
Yeah.
that, maybe. I don't know. See, I'm not as hip as some of the younger people, apparently.
Great, now I'm thinking about Glass Cannon.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah,
one.
or-
Glass Cannon's like a wizard that's super, usually something that's ranged.
Usually more
that
of a
can do
sorcerer, actually.
Well, a magical character who blows up shit, but
far
if
away.
if it trips and stubs its toe, it dies.
They can't take a punch.
Yeah, they fucking break easily. Anyways, so if you didn't win, have no fear. Head on over to critacademy.com/LordSmith and get a free set of digital terrain and some other fantastic options.
And this is why we have an editor.
Yeah. Thank you, Seth, for being awesome. I just want to give a huge shout out to Seth, our editor. He is the unsung hero of the show, because without him, I would be I'd be making less content, because he took all that free time of editing the show away out of my hands. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, man. And while you're editing this, leave this part in so everyone can hear how freaking awesome you are.
Please do.
Yeah. Thank you, Seth. All right, so moving on to our main topic today, we are discussing Recovery Dice by Total Party Thrill. Austin, would you like to tell us about it?
Mean Party Kill.
What did I
You
say?
said
Thrill.
Oh, not Thrill. That's somebody else. Sorry, that's a podcast. By Total Party Kill Games.
Once again, this is why we have an editor.
Yeah, you can edit that part out, Seth.
Yeah, that part we can. Recovery Dice was been introduced in 5th edition. Recovery Dice is also known as Hit Dice, which is what we all kind of just refer to it
Yeah,
as,
that's what it's
honestly.
called in the actual game. They call it something else.
Yeah. Which allows the character to recover hit points without the need for healing potions or cure wound spells. This serves to extend the adventuring day by delaying the party's need to return to civilization, which in turn allows characters to continue exploring dungeons, crypts, and slaying monsters. As described in the core rules, Recovery Dice represent a fire and forget healing system requiring minimal bookkeeping, and as a result, most players tend to forget about hit dice in the middle of a fight.
Yes, once again, hit dice I've used as resources as punishment for failing checks, or for instance, the ranger over here rolls crappy on a survival check and they get lost in the woods. Instead of running in a combat encounter or adding something like that, I'll drain everyone's hit dice so that when they get farther into the game and they go to take short rest, they have less resources because somebody got them lost and they spent all that time marching and hiking. Now, Recovery Dice options take this concept and really run with it to a level that I had never really thought of. Rather than just relegating the Recovery Dice to the role of healing, they this sourcebook kind of provides a range of optional ways for the characters to use the mechanic. And this is where it gets really interesting, because they're not necessarily in the way of healing. So,
Yeah, but basically, it's a way for you to expend your hit dice to have your character push themselves to their limit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Does your barbarian desperately need another rage? Could your wizard benefit from regaining an additional spell slot? How about you desperately need to shake off a condition affecting your character because you keep rolling really bad and it could end up in a total party kill? See what they did there? Because I did. I got that. This sourcebook really provides these possibilities and so many, many more. Now, don't get me wrong. I love this product, but I do have a few issues with it, and remind me to bring up the few cons that I do think about it.
Okay.
I had a few cons too, so I don't think there'll be a problem.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. This is a good
Yeah,
product.
it's a great
Yeah,
product.
there-
There's just a few things that I feel like could be improved upon, but it's like one or two of the features themselves.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about this. You guys got a chance to look through this.
Yep.
I
Which
did.
which one of these recovery features tickle your dice? Anything that really jumped out at you?
I'd have to say.
Let's start. How about we categorize it? Let's start under the general recovery options. Is there anything under that you guys really, really kicked out, jumped out at you?
Well, a few things skimming through, again, just because there was so element, I kind of like blew through all at once, so all kind of blurred together. But skimming through again, I liked Die Hard.
Okay, what does Die Hard do?
Yeah.
Die Hard, you expend a recovery die to gain advantage on a death saving throw, or you can spend 2 recovery dice to automatically make it a death save.
Is that one under the recovery options? Because that's awesome.
No,
It is.
Oh, that which one's
Sorry.
that under?
basic
Oh, did I skip basic or is general and basic different?
or general first thing.
Okay, yeah, you're in the right one. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Granting advantage, that could be the difference between
Literally
dying
life
and
and death,
yeah,
yeah.
literally for your character.
A man too angry to die.
Mine would have to be Iron Determination. So as a bonus action, you spend a recovery die to ignore any one condition you suffer until the start of your next turn. Now, I like that because it's like, imagine like you are, well, I guess there's one for specifically for an exhaustion, but you could ignore exhaustion, I guess, because that's technically a condition, right?
Yep.
So maybe you're a berserk barbarian, because that's the most easiest one to find.
Yep.
And you have like 3 levels of exhaustion, and your party could really use a guy to kind of step up to the plate right now.
Go
Well,
all-
now you can for one turn.
Right.
Go all might on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Go beyond plus ultra. God, I'm a
And that is a good character who constantly pushes himself.
yes.
Of course, in many cases, he kind of has to. Because he's past his prime for one thing.
Carmageddon says
Yeah.
this episode is sponsored by Segway. Because that's the only setting we come on. So one that I thought was really cool, and honestly, I think this must have been taken from 4th edition, because in 4th edition, all the healing abilities work this way. It's called Sympathetic Healing. You can expend 1 or more of your recovery dice during a short rest to help heal another creature. You do not regain hit points, but rather the recipient regains equal to half your roll. You do not add your con modifier to this healing. So, if I didn't take any damage and I'm doing great, but Ian's about to die and Austin's somewhere in the middle, I like Austin more, so I'm going to give some healing to him. And then we're just going to both hope Ian doesn't die. Or maybe I'll feel a little bit and I'll pass out some of my hit dice to him. I do like that it doesn't include your con and it's half, because you're basically reducing its effectiveness
Yep.
than if you used it on yourself. What do you guys think about that?
it's a very interesting one, because then that means you can also, like, for instance, Barbarian again, because they have the biggest hit die number. That means, like, your Barbarian, who is, like, maybe they just were doing really well, and, like, even though they were tanking absolutely everything, somehow they're still doing all right, but there was one guy who slipped by him and
The glass cannon.
hit the glass cannon, the wizard, or the sorcerer, it doesn't matter. Now he's like, hey, it's okay, buddy.
Rub some dirt
Gives
on
him a
it.
pat on the back.
Well, it reminds me. So the one thing they do talk about is how you can reflavor these mechanics to be any way you want. So you mentioned the barbarian. So one of my favorite characters, Brick, as a chef. So maybe when I do this, he mixes a special meal together. Maybe he calls it his trail mix, and it's just like toes and stuff from his enemies, and he's feeding them in a stew or something for his allies.
It's a good one, I
And
guess.
you could reflavor reflavor food.
Yeah.
any way you want, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, my character very quickly got into a habit of asking what is in the food that Brick makes before he eats it for a reason.
Yeah, I think one
Mine
time,
didn't.
wasn't it like gutter sludge or something? Like
Yeah.
he set a bucket and scooped it out
Yeah.
of the gutter after the rain. It's gutter soup. Anyways, so you can reflavor these anyway, which I think is really, really, really cool. For instance, if you're a medic, maybe you got the soldier background and you got a medic background, you could just be bandaging somebody. Or
Oh, yeah, for sure.
if you're a sorcerer, maybe you're using, pulling some of the negative energy out of somebody or something. I don't know. I'm just making shit up, but you can really
Right.
take it however you want and tie it into your character. Ranger might make a poultice, right?
Good one.
Rub some dirt on it.
Is there any other recovery ones that really jumped out at you?
Yes.
wanna
This
do
one is
too many,
called
but-
Still Standing. So when you take enough damage to drop to 0 hit points, you can spend a recovery die as an reaction. Excuse me. This allows you to remain standing with 1 hit point. For each round you wish to continue standing, you must spend another recovery die as as a reaction. If you choose not to do so, you fall unconscious with 0 hit points at the end of the round. If you receive any healing during this time, you no longer need to spend recovery dice to stay upright and conscious.
That's cool.
Now, as an option, if you take damage again, your GM may or may not allow you to spend recovery dice to remain at 1 hit point. So, I like this because it could be like this really pivotal moment that, like, I don't know, maybe you're fighting the big bad evil guy, and maybe only one of the players is left, and he was full health at the time, but
Bless
now
you.
he has a
Hey.
few hit dice remaining, and he's like, well, obviously me and this boss are really weak right now, and if I just had a couple more turns, maybe I can, ass pull something, right? And that could be like create really, really high tension moment where it could sway either way. Maybe the player doesn't. Maybe the GM will want the player because it's like, damn, that's cool. All right, you win. Whatever the second attack is, you can win.
That's
Yep.
a pretty good one.
Or just rub some dirt on it, where as a bonus action, you can expend your recovery dice to gain your hit points, but as temporary hit points,
That's a good one.
without a con modifier, and you lose those when you take a short rest.
That's the
Yep.
rub some dirt on it.
Yep.
Why am I not surprised you're the one that picked that one? Because you keep saying that, just rub some dirt on it, it'll be all right. So
That's
there's
why I thought about it.
there's one in here that I think is really cool, and I'm surprised it doesn't go farther than what they have in here. They have Hot Blooded, which basically says you can expend one as a bonus action and gain resistance and fire until the end of your turn. Like, I could totally see a whole collection of those for, like, every element.
Well, they got one for cool at least too.
Oh,
so.
did they?
Yeah, it was,
okay,
like, hot and
okay,
cold.
that's cool. And then the last one I think we can talk about in the focus. There's a lot in here. There's got to be at least 10 to 12 in here of these different ones. But one that really jumped out at me for the general. Once again, the general, there's no prerequisites.
Yep,
Everyone can
you
do it, right?
Just do it, yeah.
I lost it. Where'd it go? Hey, Justin. You're an idiot.
Hey Seth, edit out this long pause.
Yeah, do that, please. Oh, recharge, here it is. So following a short rest, you can expend 2 recovery dice, and as an action, regain the use of a feature that normally requires a long rest to recharge.
Yes, this is a really good one.
Now
Agree
it
with
says, note, this option have a dramatic effect on overall character power and encounter balance. So, for me, I think this would be an awesome reward tool. Instead of just something they can do, passing out rewards for amazing roleplay on top of inspiration, or a character goes above and beyond and does something in character that's just knock you out of your seat awesome. You could give this as like a token, and hey, you get this one time. Because everyone can do that, 2 recovery dice for a long rest that's strong.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously they're well aware of that because it says it right following.
I would even say maybe like 3.
I'd say half your hit dice, period.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't know, when you take a long rest, you only get half your hit dice. So all you people that say the game is, they heal overnight, no, they don't. When they expend the resources, they only get half of them back.
I would even say, like, you should say, like, I agree with the half, but, like, at minimum, like, 2 or 3.
So low level.
So, like, low
character
levels
do it.
can't just spam, like, these incredible, long
Once
rest
days.
features.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're once again though with these features, the downside is you're blowing through your hit dice, which is how you often heal during your rest.
Yeah.
Increasing your chance to die.
Yep.
So
But also, you're killing things way faster, so I don't know. That's the thing, right?
yeah, that's the
the
trade-off.
That's the weird line.
All right, so why don't we move on into racial recovery dice? Ian, which one of these really jumped out at you?
Well, there's a few, and first off, I just want to point out that the racial recovery dice options that you have here only cover the races that are in the PHP.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's also worth pointing out this document was made back in 2017, according to the info in the front, so...
You
Well, there you
actually
go.
read that stuff?
I did this time just because I'm like, when was this released? Just because more material has come out since then,
More since
such as
then,
the
yeah.
Artificer, for example,
Yeah.
which is a point I was going to make later on, actually. But
Okay, well, there you go.
that's actually why I read that in this
Oh,
case.
well, okay then.
Anyway,
So which one of these racial features is interesting to you?
well,
You think's really cool?
for the Dragonborn, I can't talk today.
Story of my life.
That'll happen.
For the Dragonborn, Unleashed Breath Weapon.
Yes, that's a good choice.
For each recovery die you spend, up to a max equal to your con score, minimum 1, you can add the result of the roll to your damage to your breath weapon.
Dragonborns really need this.
Because their breath weapons in this edition suck!
Yes. So anything that increases the potency of them is nice. I like that. All these have really cool flavor, too. Like this one says, you draw from your body's strength of vitality to supercharge your breath attack. Which is pretty cool.
Yep.
What do you think about that, Austin?
I think I like that a lot. Again, I kind of agree where it's like every single time. There was one time I was playing with this guy who was a Dragonborn, and I was like, this breath weapon, I feel like...
Wasn't strong enough?
I don't know. It just felt like lacking.
Yeah, I found a way to get more out of that, though. I took a Dragonborn wild-shaped druid, turned into a bear, pinned 2 monsters to the ground, and breathed on them. 2 for 1 deal.
That's not bad.
It's the only time where I ever felt my breath weapon did it, damn, and I rolled really high. I was like, yeah!
Did a lot of good stuff right there all in one
Guys,
go.
let me see. Yeah, the DC is for the
2d6, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's... Well, that... No, I said the DC, not the damage.
Oh, okay.
But the DC is 8 plus your con score plus proficiency, so...
Yeah,
Stuck-
it's not even-
that's
Which
pretty,
is
that's pretty
not-
standard, isn't it, though?
Yeah, but Constitution, though, is not often a creature's main stat.
Yeah, and
either,
that's where
so...
the issue kind of lies, I think.
Yeah, okay. What about you, Austin?
I kind of like these human feats right here, but if I had to choose one, I'd probably say...
They're not feats.
Well, yeah, sorry. They're recovery dice options. I'd probably say the human resolve.
Okay.
It's because when you fail a die roll by 5 or less, you can spend a recovery die as a reaction to add half of its result rounded down to your roll result. So if you
Okay.
can almost kind of like, oh, I almost made it. Well, now maybe you will.
Oh.
And I kind of like
Interesting.
that one.
That is really cool.
It's kind of sad that it's only for the human, but that's okay.
Well, humans are meant to be like these,
The scrappy newcomer.
Yeah.
well, I was going to say more versatile, but...
That too.
So one of the ones that I really liked was Elf. So when I played 4th edition, they had an ability called like Elven Accuracy, and I think that might be one of the feats in the racial feats that they have
In Xanathars, yeah.
in Xanathars. But this one comes with Uncanny Aim. If your enemy creature is within range of your weapon or ranged spell attack, but obscured behind anything less than total cover, i.e., 230 or well, this says i.e. you have line of effect but not line of sight to the target, you can spend a recovery die to make the attack without disadvantage. You must still attack the creature's true location if you attack the wrong location, you automatically miss. The target still gains the benefits of cover. So you're offsetting the disadvantage by not being able to see the creature by getting an extra attack die, but they still get the benefits of their cover.
Right.
So it's interesting because it's almost like to me in my mind I'm envisioning this like a trick shot, right? Like I know there's a little tiny dwarf hiding behind that rock, but around the corner. So I aim and I bounce it off the edge. So I've got line of effect. It bounces off the wall and hits him around the edge. That's kind of what I envisioned. I don't know if that's what they were going for here, but I like the idea of increasing the elves' accuracy compared to other creatures.
Yeah.
So,
It's a good one.
Ian, did you have one before we move on?
I said Dragonborn, so...
Oh, was it Austin? You didn't get one?
I already-
All right, well, let's pick another one then. All right,
Whereas, like, you know what? Sure.
we'll just keep going. What's another one you like there, Austin? We go.
We'll go to Ian if he has one already. But
All right. Let's give the half-orc some love here.
Good.
do you like me some half
Ooh,
orcs?
both these are good, actually.
Just pick one.
Destructive Savagery. If you score a crit hit, you can spend a recovery die to reroll one or all of your damage dice. Including the extra die provided by your Savage Attack's racial trait.
Ooh, that's cool. So helping boost that minimum damage,
Oh, yeah.
which they need when on the D12. So it's a pretty good one. I like that. It fits in line with their whole racial archetype, right? Of
Yep.
monstrous death.
Pretty much.
I think that'll do it for the races. Now each of these has multiple options.
Yeah.
Some of them have 3 or 4 for each race.
Some only have 2.
Okay, well, that's
Yeah.
still more than one. Now we'll move on to class-based recovery dice. Now this is where I think this really, really shines. As a druid, I like it even more personally, but that's just me. So the first thing I want to talk about is the barbarian's desperate rage. You heard me mention it earlier. You can spend one recovery die to regain a use of one of your rages for the day. Options: you gain a cumulative level of exhaustion each time you use it. Desperate rage before taking a long rest. So there is a punishment for doing it, for that trade-off, and it's a harsh one.
Especially if you're playing a berserker.
Yes, but being able to rage during a boss battle, reducing damage by slashing, bludgeoning, and piercing by half, may outweigh disadvantage on some skill checks or moving a little bit slower. You're starting to get into some uncomfortable area. You go much farther than that, but I think that was a really cool way to allow the barbarian who's already exhausted the resource to gain one at that last moment if they choose to.
And barbarians can't reckless attack anyway, so.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, what about you, Ian? You got a class recovery dice option you like?
Well, we got the Paladin. Yeah.
I love me some paladins.
All
So I
right.
got 2.
We got, for example, Healing Hands. When you use your Laying on Hands feature, you can expend 1 recovery dice for every 5 points of healing you give.
Ooh,
Pretty good.
Yeah.
that's really cool.
And you add the result of the die roll to your healing, but you don't add your con modifier.
on.
Yeah.
So it makes you a more versatile healer.
Yeah.
I like that.
You
Definitely.
You got the touch.
Where are you going, Paladin? To touch myself.
Oh man.
What about you, Austin?
I'm gonna choose this one for the rogue. It's called Quick Reflexes. Your quick thinking and sharp reflexes lets you act first. At the start of a battle, you can spend a recovery die and add the result to your initiative check.
Cool.
It's super simple, but man, I really love stuff like that. If you spend a second recovery die as an option, you gain advantage on the initiative roll, so you can
Nice.
just
You
really
can-
push it.
yeah.
Yeah. I like how they all have a lot of these actually have options.
Yeah.
I really
Some
like
good
that.
stuff. That's a really
Yeah.
good one.
It's because like I'm playing. Okay, so Raven the Crow, for some backstory, is an assassin. Assassins really want to go first so they can get not death strike.
Assassinate.
Yeah, assassinate.
I'm gonna play an assassin, and I'm gonna get that one ability.
No.
It's not Death Strike. Oh,
To
it's
be fair, I
assassinate.
haven't played it in like
A year?
a while. Yeah,
You'll be playing it Friday.
yeah, I'm gonna be playing it again, so I'm really excited about that.
I know-
But you have to be first. So if you don't already have like the alert feat or something to kind of circumvent it, it really doesn't happen very often.
Right,
So I don't know. It's something that I'm like,
That's a good one. I like that.
yeah.
What about you, Ian?
Oh, another one? Why, if you
Bites
insist.
the dust.
Alright.
Ooh, some good shit in here.
There's a lot of
Alright,
really good stuff.
let's
in
go
here.
with the sorcerer. Get some blood magic into the mix.
I'm always down for some blood magic.
Alright. You can expend 1 recovery die to regain 1 sorcery point as a bonus action. You cannot have more sorcery points than you can have according to your level for the class.
Okay. So it limits you how many you can. Well,
It'll still only keep you at your maximum.
Yeah, you can't go above the max.
okay, I got it.
And let's face it, the sorcerers, sorcery points are kind of their thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was when we did that game with the team deathmatch game.
Yep.
I was constantly converting spells into spell points and twinning stuff because that's my jams. I had second level spells. I think I used one.
I was constantly grappling people and chucking them off the side, so...
That
So
was definitely the plan.
the one I want to talk about is for the fighter, and it is called Critical Strike Master.
I was literally about to choose that one, actually. That's a good one.
You can expend a recovery dice to temporarily increase your critical hit range. If your normal range is crit on a 20, you can crit on a 20 and a 19. Or if it's a 19 or a 20, you can crit on an 18, 19, or 20. Basically, it increases the range
by one,
which is
yeah.
by one, which is nice. You can choose whether to use this option after you make your attack roll, or you can only use this option once per round. Oh, you can only use this option once per round. So if you get 4 attacks, you can only use it once. But the fact that you get to pick when to use it is pretty convenient. I think if I was to use this, I would force it to use like a reaction or something, because it doesn't look like it's...
There's really no penalty beyond just the one hit die.
Yeah,
right?
so I would make it at least consume a reaction or something, because that was one of the things that I noticed that kind of bugged me in one of my cons, is I feel like some of those should require some sort of loss in action economy to use them.
Yep.
But that was really a minor one.
Another thing that I was kind of looking at and it kind of made me tilt my head a little bit is it's in Fighter, actually. It's the additional second wind. There doesn't seem to be a limit. So you effectively just have better hit dice if you just say, oh, I'm just going to additional second wind every time.
They don't.
Right?
It says, in exchange for a recovery die, it says you can use your second wind feature again by spending a recovery die.
Right, but your recovery die are the same number as the dice rolled for a second win, so...
Is it?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was like based on like your fighter level and stuff.
I think
It's a bonus to it.
the modifier that you add to the dice roll is...
Oh, okay. Yeah. So. Okay,
They're all
yeah.
D10s.
I guess that's
This only adds your con modifier, so it's not as effective
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
as your normal one,
That
which is
makes
good.
sense.
It basically lets you, just spend your hit dice whenever you want. Stuff just during a short rest.
Now, if I'm not, it's
Still pretty good.
Yeah.
now your second wind does require your bonus action, I think, so that
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
have action economy tied to it.
Yep.
Ian, you want to pick another one before we move on
All right.
to the yeah.
To the yeah.
That.
Yeah. Spell swap for the wizard. In exchange for expending a recovery die, you can swap one of your currently prepared spells for one of your known spells you don't have prepared. And the
That's cool.
swap remains in effect until you once again prepare spells.
I honestly like that. I think I could see somebody using this in just a game for spellcasters.
Oh, yeah.
But that makes the wizard much more powerful
Oh, yeah.
because they have a massive list. And any other class really that has a massive list that has access to everything, right? But that's pretty cool being able to swap them on the fly like that.
Yep.
I can just imagine like the wizard just like straining. He's like, oh, it goes like this. This is the one.
I remember.
Quick, change the channel!
That's funny.
It's just like you can see the veins going across his forehead. He's like, I'm really struggling, but I know it's on the tip of my tongue.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
So I like that one.
So that's really good. So there's a lot of these. That I mean, there are dozens and dozens of these options. Do you want to
Yeah.
pick one more before we move on to recovery options?
No, I think I covered
Okay.
a fair bit. Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on to combat options for recovery dice. Now, these options don't necessarily benefit characters, but rather serve to dial up or down the lethality and grittiness of combat. I'm only going to give you one example because there's a few of them, but I don't want to get
I don't think there's really
too many of them.
Yeah.
They have like a lethality rating, and to kind of give you an idea of
Yeah.
what this includes, they have one called Momentary Respite. So when you expend a recovery die, you gain the result of the die plus your Constitution modifier in temporary hit points rather than normal hit points, which means they disappear when you take a short or long rest.
Although, could that mean if you give them as temporary hit points, it can put you above your max HP?
That's true. So that's interesting. So that would be
That'd be an interesting way to put that, yeah.
You know what? During this short rest, I'm just gonna dump all my hit dice right now, so I'm not walking around with a crap ton of HP as a tank.
Yeah.
I could see a barbarian doing that,
Oh,
actually.
yeah, for sure.
Or like a fighter,
I-
as they know for sure big bad evil guy's next. Like they're just like, all right.
I-
They're like doing like pre-game workouts and stuff. They're getting like push-ups in.
Getting pumped.
I
Come in,
don't,
they're all like sweaty. Look,
I don't think that was what the intention was, but Raw, I don't see how it...
I'm about it.
I don't disagree.
I'm pretty sure the creators are probably like, huh.
Damn it. I'm
These
sure
idiots.
somebody must have came across that. But that's it. If you run into a fight and there's another fight after that,
Yeah, that you're boned.
yeah.
Sorry.
or worse, you don't run into a fight and you end up walking for an hour, which is technically a short rest. Because doesn't that disappear? Well, how long do temporary hit points last?
Until
You rest, right?
Right.
Right.
So
But why-
everyone else is resting and the barbarian is running in
Yeah,
fights.
he's
Jog in place, jog in place.
Can't
got
let
like
the
a
steam run out.
sweatbands on and stuff.
It's kind of like the rage. In order to keep that going, you gotta
gotta
hit
do
something
something,
or
yeah.
take damage. So
Or try to hit
himself
something at
in the-
least.
in the chest.
I am always angry!
I like that. And then there's also like really scary ones.
Yeah.
the
like,
slow healing one is really interesting. You cannot expend recovery dice for healing after a short rest. You must complete a long rest in order to expend these dice.
I think that guy touches on some like the harder difficulties laid out in the DMG though. So
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a lot more to that. I don't want to get too much into that. They have additional options that don't really fit into any of those categories that can be tailored for different rules. Once again, I don't want to get too much into that. They got one for heroic fatigue, which I think is pretty cool. And low magic settings, campaigns. I do like the recovery option, or the wounded option. Basically, you can wound players. They have a previous product called 5th Edition Options that I'm probably going to pick up and look at that includes like a wounding status effect, which sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm always down for stuff like that.
So,
Is that almost like bloodied
gimping
almost?
around. All right, so I think that'll do it for this product. Overall, what did you guys think?
I like it a lot. Which probably didn't sound very convincing. I really do like it a lot, but it's pretty
God.
short and sweet.
Yeah.
Admittedly. But there's so much in here that it's always constantly being thought about, right? Like these are things that I can do pretty much at any given time. And I mean, even just for the general, like if this was even just the general options, like this wasn't even like the class ones or the racial ones, like even that was just like plenty, honestly. Like it's already so all encompassing for
Yeah.
a lot of situations. Now, I am kind of sad because there's no Azamar one, but I love Azamars, but I mean it was like, as Ian said, it was like 2017 or something like that.
Yeah, and
So-
like I said, they only had like the races in there from the PHB,
Right.
so
Yeah, so I mean,
Player's
can't
Handbook.
fault them, so.
game
Oh.
term.
Yeah, another acronym.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure, like, even like, because if you look at the Tiefling one, there's like one where like they can use their Infernal Legacy again or something like that, I think. And it's just, you could probably just say like, oh yeah, the Azamar can also just use their thing again, and you could just call it good from there. So I don't know, stuff like that.
Yep.
You could easily work off of it and create your own stuff, probably.
Oh, for sure.
Yep. Overall, I do like this product too because it gives the players more options, more versatility. And I think there's something here to a degree, for everyone, which is where I'm going to segue towards the flaws. As I already mentioned, you have a limited amount of races to choose from, which are those from the PHP, and it's been expanded since then through various other supplements.
Yeah, a lot of sub races too, I think, right?
Yeah,
So,
and
a lot to work with.
for that matter, other flaws too is not all other races got an equal amount of love, if you will.
Yes.
I can agree to that. Yeah.
And same thing can be said for the classes too. And another area I found somewhat inconsistent is some of the classes might have some hit die options for some of the archetypes, but they don't give it for all of the archetypes for that class either. So
You hit on some of the things that I wanted to point out, so that's good.
right, and they also don't give some archetype options for some of the classes either. So don't get me wrong, I am not dogging on the product. I think overall, like I said, it's pretty good. But there are some things that I think need to be said.
Yeah,
So,
there was one ability in here that I did find interesting. The inner mana, which basically allows you to spend recovery die to regain a spell slot. And honestly, I think that's too much. if you're gonna allow something like that, it needs to be more than just a 1-to-1 ratio. If I'm reading this right, it says as an action you can spend 1 recovery die to regain 1 spell slot level. You can regain a higher level spell slot if you expend a die for each level of that. That to me is too imbalanced.
So you could spend
Yes
like
and
9
no.
recovery dice to get a 9th level spell, essentially.
Yes. Which you're designed to only get one of those.
No,
At least with
Yep.
a wizard.
But inversely, when that short rest comes up, that is that much more hit dice you're not going to be rolling to get your health back.
Well, the reason why this stood out to me,
I'm just playing devil's
because-
advocate there.
Yeah,
No,
no,
yeah,
the
yeah.
reason this pointed out to me
playing
because I
devil's
did the
advocate
blood tome magic item that let my player draw hit dice as a source to regain spell slots, and not only did I have to put a limit on it of no higher than 5th level, but the cost was half their hit dice, and even then, you could still see
just the amount of like power.
more
that they
power
got.
he had. Yeah. Even after I had nerfed it quite a bit, I just ended up bumping up the rarity of the item.
Yep.
So that's from a personal experience. And there are other options to that it gives to kind of help with that, but that was the only thing that really stood out to me that I could see being a problem. But everything else,
And
I
even
really
then,
enjoy.
you could limit it to as like a DM, of course. You can always just look
Yeah.
through this and be like, okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of a limit on. For instance, he said inner mana, so you can definitely work with that. What I do like about this product, though, so we can still put back onto a good note for this, because
Yes.
we do love this. Let's be clear here, is that this does give every single player kind of like that. They are the big anime hero. They are the protagonist.
Yes.
They are the hero of the story. Like, for instance, I said I think it was like Last Stand or something like that. I believe is what it was.
So this actually does
Still
touch
standing, so-
on the inner mana giving levels of exhaustion. So
Okay.
there is a built-in limiter there.
Okay, so
So-
not even that bad. But yeah, I like that. You know, like I said before, like you're the last player alive, and you desperately need to just survive the next few rounds or something, right? And if you still
Push
have
yourself a
a few
little harder.
spare, recovery dice, you can just imagine like the character is physically draining their vitality to just stay conscious, to be alive, and it's just like, it'd be cool.
Overall, yeah, like I said, this was definitely a awesome product. There's so much goodness in here. Even if you didn't take everything from it, there's something in here for everybody, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even giving a players the choice to pick one. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, I think that'll do for our main topic today.
Yeah, not too bad.
The recovery dice options from Total Party Kill Games. I really enjoy this, and I think you will too.
Holy crap, there's a Wikipedia page for RPG game terms.
Well, that saves a lot of trouble. I can just put a link and I don't got to do it.
I'm doing it right now!
There we go.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Ian, would you like to tell us about our giveaway today?
Why, don't mind if I do. Let me scroll to it. Our giveaway today comes from Jess Stevens. Scourge of the Nightingale, Part 1. A Song of Love. A masked menace terrifies the region, raiding villages to fund their devious plans. Unknowingly, the adventurers stumble into her most recent evil scheme, the kidnapping of a famous performer known as Devon Artists. Their mission is to deliver a ransom and collect Devon, though, as in most cases, not all goes as planned.
Yeah. How many times do your adventurers mess up?
Oh, Steve.
All
do
the
you say?
time.
Son of a... It always helps to do your homework before you ask Ian a question.
Because you found the wiki page?
Yes!
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Hey man, it happens.
To be fair, it didn't occur to me to even Google RPG player
Yeah, me neither.
terms or acronyms until just now, an hour
Right.
later.
All right, who is our winner today, Ian?
Our winner today is Thin Lizzy Rules, 70.
Yeah, there we go.
Congratulations. Way to go, Thin Lizzy Rules. Do you think there's somebody out there named not Thin Lizzy doesn't rule? Or Big Lizzy Rules.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm going to burn.
Uh,
Oh, congratulations, Thin
Yeah.
Lizzy. If you enjoy the product, please leave Jeff Stevens a review. Maybe consider picking up some of his other products. His Turtle Brewery adventure just released, and oh my gosh,
Did it just release?
Yeah, it
Oh
released
wow, okay.
this past week, and we had the pleasure of being a part of the playtest for that, and all I can say is Voltron barrel construct, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Frank
barrel
Kegstein. I remember that. Frank Kegstein. That was beautiful.
Wow. This Wikipedia article has terms I've never even heard of.
It's good.
widen your horizons. Is Nova in there by chance? Because I had never heard of that.
Really?
Probably. I haven't heard of that.
No.
Yeah, see, it's not in there.
Haha! I'm not as dumb as I am.
If you didn't win, have no fear. Head on over to critacademy.com/Jeff Stevens and get Villains and Layers 3 and Encounters on the Savage Seas 3 free.
Woo!
Yeah.
This product is not paid for by Jeff Stevens.
Nope. You would think so, but no.
No, he's just a really great guy, and I love him.
Absolutely. Great dude.
Like, in a platonic way.
Doesn't have to be.
I guess you're right.
It doesn't have to be.
He's
Sir
awesome.
Jeff is just like,
I'm done.
he's like looking over. He's like, did I hear that?
he's sneezing right at the moment. All right,
Right.
now
Is it time for me to press the button?
I think it's time for you to press the button.
And now, what you've all been waiting for. Our Unearth Tips and Tricks segment, where we bring you new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
That was really quiet, I think.
Was it? Yeah,
I don't
well.
know. Oh well.
I mean, it looked like it was loud enough over there.
Yeah, maybe it's just not in my headset.
Right.
Editing!
Assuming it needs it. All right. So our character concept is. What is our character concept, Austin?
Our character concept today is the MVP, another acronym, which also stands for Most Valuable Player.
That's a total accident. It's a happy accident.
It's a happy. I thought it was intentional, so
No,
I was like,
it
"Oh, sweet, we are just 360ing this episode."
Steve says Jeff has been friend zoned.
Oh, jeez. Oh boy.
To which you reply, well, there's friend zoned, and then there's Jorah Mormont from Game of Thrones.
I don't remember that guy.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I didn't watch Game of Thrones.
It's a dead joke. Well, I don't remember all that stuff. I fell asleep half those episodes you let me borrow.
That's just season 1!
Anyways, tell us
sorry.
about the MVP, most valuable player.
This character is the star athlete of the realm's largest and most popular sporting event, Murder! No, it's not what it says. Constantly full of excitement and cheer. A positive attitude and outlook, believing that with enough practice, you can best any challenge before you. Not necessarily true with our heroes. Regularly reminds people that they are the star player.
VP!
So
I'm totally picturing these guys as a dude, bro.
Yeah, like they're just constantly have like a few kegs in their hands. They got a surfboard next to them.
like, I think the bard walks up. Do you know who I am? I'm the star player of the Neverwinter Balder. I can't even say it. I'm the star player of Neverwinter Baldur's Bar's team. Balder, motherfuck, never mind. Please cut that out.
Everyone's just looking at him like, "Hey,
I can't get it out.
are you okay?"
My tongue twisted. Anyways, this character concept came because I'm stupid and playing Final Fantasy X right now. If you don't know, if you have Steam, you can get the Steam app and stream your games to your phone. Oh my god!
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I've been playing Final Fantasy X while my wife watches stuff on TV. I'm just laying there on the couch. Anyways, so the character there, Titus, not tight ass.
Actually, tedious if you want to be technical.
I didn't want to be what? No, I don't want to be technical. It's tight ass, okay? Anyways, he's the star player of the Xanarchan Abes, and he uses that leverage to impress the ladies.
Tedious.
Tight ass.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think this would be pretty cool because you could add a sporting event to your games if they don't already exist.
that. Like, this is a really good idea to add like a
Yeah.
sporting event of some sort. You could add just like a bunch of skill checks or something.
Yeah, and it could be something as similar as like the Olympics, right? Maybe it's a character who just
They
throws
gotta
big boulders.
swim faster than everyone else.
Didn't we do something like that once where we had
Probably.
somebody do a competition?
Dude,
with
this is episode 178. I don't remember all these things, so we've done so much crap over the time. In fact, don't you remember half the time I suggest stuff, you're like, we already did that.
Done it. Anyways,
Oh, Steve's like, character concept. Rudy. He sucks, but he tries really hard.
I love it. But yeah,
beautiful.
you're right. This expands on the universe in a way that you can either work with your DM or just implement it and say, in my village, this is the greatest sport and entertainment. You know, because not everyone has TV, and not arenas aren't the only form of entertainment, right?
I may have as Thork one time mentioned his tribe's favorite pastime was cliff diving.
I do remember that. Like the people in Africa that jump with the vines.
Yeah.
And then it snaps and they smash their face into the dirt.
Yeah, it's a very extreme version of bungee jumping.
Yeah, but you can do anything like that and make it a part of your character concept.
Yeah.
And it would be fun, but maybe it's not the realm's largest thing. It's only his little village, but he still talks about how awesome he is and how great he is and challenges people. And
Could you imagine everyone else just
Like,
looking at him like, what the fuck?
what are
kind
you
of sport
talking
is he talking-
about?
What the heck is cliff diving? And this is as stupid as it sounds. Short answer? Yes.
He's really, really happy about his rock climbing contests, huh? That's weird. Because in our village, we do spear throwing. And it's just like... And another guy's like, yeah, you do spear throwing? We do people throwing as spears. So they just see a barbarian take a guy and just launch him.
Throwing dwarves.
Gnome tossing.
Gnome tossing. I think
In other words, Scott. So this is the D&D version of Scotland right here.
yes.
Guys were so bored, their favorite pastime is throwing telephone poles.
Oh, I love it.
Like caber toss.
Anyways, this character can be any sort of personality. I chose the constantly excited cheerperson because I envisioned a bard doing this, and instead of being a musician or something, he's an athlete.
I was totally thinking a fighter. That's weird. Because
No,
I was
that's-
thinking like...
Nothing wrong with that.
I was thinking like there's
Javelin
actually
and
like
gnome throwing, apparently.
like a background for a performer where there's
That
like an
would go well
alternative
with that.
one
Is there?
where they're like an arena fighter almost, like they perform by fighting in arenas and they have like they can do like shows maybe with like their swords and stuff like
Yes, that's
throw
really
swords
good.
around
Have you
and
seen
very stylistic fighting.
Did
that
you
kind of
watch
stuff.
the Maggie anime? There's a prequel to that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
The prequel in Sinbad, he does that. He goes and he performs and reenacts these legendary things he did to raise money. And he uses basic magical tricks like prestidigitation to amplify it.
And dang, did that guy get so OP eventually.
Yeah! If you want to watch a really great series, the Maggie anime is awesome, but the prequel of Sinbad is better, in my opinion.
I agree, but still.
It's too short. Anyways. Yeah, we gotta move on.
Yeah.
All right, so that'll do it for our character concept, the MVP.
Woo.
Our monster variant is the Knoll Huntmaster. Now this is gonna throw your ass off. The origin stat block you're gonna use is the Etin.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna lose 2 heads, wakeful. You're gonna swap the strength and dex, and you're gonna get rid of the Morning Star, and the size is gonna be reduced to medium. Got all that?
This
Yep.
was really the closest thing you could find, huh?
It wasn't about close. It was looking for stuff that had the right stats at the right CR.
Oh.
Because of the CR one, I don't remember which one it was now, but
Fair enough.
it was less about what's close and what's in the right CR level.
Gotcha.
So the new features going to give them is Nimble Escape. The Knoll can take the Disengage or Hide action as a bonus action each of its turns, and you're going to give it a Longbow.
Longbow.
Yay.
Longbow. It's going to hit like a truck, and that'll do 2d8 piercing damage, all that jazz. You're also going to give it the Piercing Shot. The Knoll makes a single longbow attack. On a hit, the Knoll can make another attack with disadvantage against every creature in a 30-foot line of that creature.
Boom.
Headshot.
He has armor-piercing rounds.
Yes, he does. And then the other feature he's gonna get, because he's the Hunt Master, he's gonna have Command Beast. So when a creature makes a weapon or melee attack against the Knoll, it can use its reaction to direct one of its beast companions to strike. The beast creature who can A beast creature who can see or hear the Knoll immediately uses its reaction to move up to half its speed without provoking an op attack and make one weapon attack.
Falcon Punch! Why you just yelled, "Ah! Ah!"
Fucking bird swooping down. I love it. So the idea behind this, it's a hunt master. So the CR doesn't include using monsters, but I assume you group it with like a couple wards or winter wolves or some sort of beast surrounding it. And anytime it gets attacked, you generate an attack against whoever's there. So it kind of discourages you from fighting the hunt master first. What do you guys think?
Makes sense. I like it.
There's fun to be had with this one.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that he can hide, if you put him in some tall bushes or something, he can hide as a bonus action, line up his shots to get the most out of his piercing shot, and then if some douche does see him and attack him, he just commands his wolves or whatever, his pack to attack.
Yes,
Or
I'm
a
going to
falcon.
get an undead diamond direback wolf, and it's going to absolutely annihilate this player. Why do you have that there?
No reason.
So yeah, this is something that I thought would be really cool and a lot of fun.
My command beast is a Tarask. I tell the Tarask to annihilate that player.
Quick Google, is it Tarasca Beast?
I hope not. If it is, that's wild.
The Hunt Master fears no man. He's this little tiny thing. You attack me, you meet Baby Zilla. What? Baby Zilla. Brr, the whole mountain shakes and he comes out from behind it. What was that? Godzuki. You ever watched the old Godzilla cartoon? It was Godzuki.
Yeah.
I hated the Godzuki.
Did you?
And no, he's not a beast. He's a titan.
Oh,
wow.
that's too bad.
Okay.
That would be
Gargantuan.
hilarious.
One.
Well, he's classified as a gargantuan monstrosity. Parentheses, titan.
So that way, if you did do something like this with the Hunt Master and the Titan, it would be kind of like that guy, the doctor and his little boy inside One Punch Man, where the guy's on his shoulder of the giant.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of envisioning.
He's like, yes, we can take him. He was like, yes, brother.
Oh, brother!
You did this to me. As he's looking at the other guy, he's like, I'm just standing here.
I didn't do
What?
nothing.
I didn't do anything.
All right. What do you guys overall? What do you think about this monster variant?
Could be fun.
Oh yeah.
Could set up a very dangerous situation, like if they're like in the middle of like some woods or something. Like this is good.
I was thinking how awesome it would be to have an encounter on a bridge with this guy. Everyone's lined up.
Yeah,
already.
everyone's already lined up, so you just. Oh man, that's good.
The trap is the rope bridge he set up.
Oh, nice.
They could
Damage. Damn, that's messed up. Like, you would just have them, like, pelting them from a distance and then have the wolves chase them onto the thing or start fighting and then run down the bridge to get them all lined up. And you'd give a small cue that you see the knoll at the end of the bridge drawing back, and he's using
See
an
a little
abnormally
glimmer of a-
large,
yeah.
abnormally large arrow, like the one from Men in Tights. Is that the one where he's got the really big giant Patriot arrow or whatever?
Yeah.
And it just blows the whole thing up.
You see, for some reason, he has a ballista bolt as his longbow arrow. Why? I don't know.
Sure, it'll be fine.
No reason.
Cross the bridge and kick his ass.
Now think about the giants in Game of Thrones that actually did have a giant-sized bow that was basically ballistic.
They're shooting trees at people.
All right, that'll do it for our monster variant. Ian, would you like to tell us about our encounter of the podcast?
Our encounter on the podcast is the Ancient Nautiloid.
Somebody's been doing research.
During their travels, the characters stumble across a large-scale archaeological dig site full of gray-skinned dwarves and a few devils. A bone devil has located the site of an ancient mind flayer ship, known as a nautiloid. The devil has tasked his minions with digging the contraption out from under the earth. And the devil oversees 2d6 plus 10 Duragar and barbed devils and bearded devils. Roll for the number. A collection of pulley contraptions are attached to large pieces, like to support a large object once it's fully dug out. Currently only halfway revealed, the devils can be heard shouting in Infernal at the Duragars to put their backs into it. The Duragar have been working for 4 days straight and suffer 3 levels of exhaustion. That sucks.
That's a lot.
What do you guys think about this encounter?
Keep in mind, exhaustion only goes up to level 6, and level 6 is death.
So really, it only goes up to 5 because by the time you hit 6, you just have to
You're
get
dead.
a new character.
What do you guys think?
So I'm assuming like the Duragar aren't inherently evil against.
Well,
the
they
players in
are
this
now,
case.
but in this case, they're not actively
Yeah.
seeking them out. This is just something that characters stumble across. Either they have a goal to get there, or it's just something that you're traveling.
Duragar, aka Grey Dwarfs, aka Evil Dwarfs, aka Dwarfs you can feel free to punch in the face.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually. Sometimes.
So what do we think?
Good times.
I don't know, because like I see, like, I guess you could do some really interesting stuff about the thing that they're pulling out, right? Because I'm
Right.
assuming that's like the goal here. So
for them,
I
yeah.
wonder, like, what.
Because nothing
So
says you couldn't make the Nautiloid a dungeon.
Right.
I mean, it's a ship, so easily can be done.
Yeah, it could be like either deep underwater, it could be inside a mountain for some stupid reason.
Yeah.
It could have just magically been like ported there as like a. Maybe it was once in hell and it was just like. Somehow I got here. I don't know how.
It plane shifted into the mountain there.
Yeah, I enjoyed writing this because it puts the monsters in a situation that they're not out just hunting somebody. They're actively doing something of import to somebody.
Right.
And it's a bone devil that's actually in charge of it, so why does he care about this? Mind flayer ships obviously allow for inner space, interdimensional, interplane travel.
Interplanetary, interplane,
Yeah, something like that.
interdimension.
So this can be a great opening into introducing that stuff, and obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 opens in early access next month. So we already know it's going to focus a lot around mind flayers and the Githyanki. So expect to see more and more of that shit come for me. So
You could also, with this encounter, you could do probably some really fun stuff with because he said something about interdimensional travel and stuff. You could do some like really weird. That gives you so much freedom, right?
Yeah.
Because now you have these options. With like maybe the mind flayers knew that this happened, and maybe they even interject or something. Like the players, because they're just happening to come in here. Well, what if something else is already attempting to intervene, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, there's mind flayers in stasis inside the Nautiloid.
That'd be cool too.
that's cool. I like that. I was just thinking, what if inside when they finally break it open, all the little eye snatcher things that create mind flayers gets loose and becomes a rampant plague among the kingdom. And mind flayers are just being born left and right. And maybe it's one of those things that the players interject here and cause the damage during the fight, loosening this plague along onto the realm, and now they have to clean up their mess.
I would almost wonder if that like, if the devils saw that, they would be like, "Hey, want to help us with this? Because you guys are kind of stuck here too, right? So I mean," and they just kind of look at you like, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend."
Right?
Oh, they break into the ship, and kind of what you were saying, it's like the vat of tadpoles in there that start taking over all the Duragar as hosts.
Ew.
That's cool.
That
so,
created one messy situation.
well, and you can take it different ways because people.
Oh, they're already infected.
So they might end up transforming during. Well, so
There's a lot of ways we
Yeah.
suddenly just broke this open into.
yeah. So I really like this encounter. I'm really liking this new format. Basically, I took a note out of the Storm King's Thunders book, and the Horde of the Dragon Queen, where they've got this format, and I really do like this format. So I'm gonna probably continue to do that until I get sick of it,
Right.
because it takes a lot more work. All right, that'll do it for our encounter of the encounter of the podcast.
The ancient Nautiloid.
Yeah.
Woo.
Huzzah.
Austin, would you like to tell us about our magic item?
Sure would. Today's magic item is the Scepter of the Blue Nebula. Thank you for bonus action on Instagram. It's a very rare wand.
Very aware.
Very rare wand. Requires attunement by a spellcaster. It is nebula charged. You gain a +2 bonus to spell attack, and you ignore half cover when making a spell attack with this wand. That's pretty good. It has also Storm's Reach. You can cast the cantrip Shocking Grasp from this wand. It has a 60-foot range, and you can make a ranged spell attack instead of a melee spell attack.
Nice.
Or you make a ranged spell attack instead of a melee
Yeah.
spell attack.
That's nice, actually.
Well, and his wording is not like WotC format, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And then you have Stormborn. While you hold this wand, you may change the damage type of any damaging spell you cast to lightning or thunder.
That's cool.
You may change a spell in this way a number of times equal to your spellcasting ability modifier, minimum of 1. You regain all uses when you finish a long rest. Additionally, you are not impaired by extreme non-magical weather conditions such as storms, blizzards, and tornadoes.
This would be awesome for a storm sorcerer.
Yes, I agree.
I don't know if I would call it the Scepter of the Blue Nebula, but I do like it.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I'm thinking, I was walking into this, I was like, is it going to be like space themed or something? Like, is there going to be
Well,
gravity
nebulas can have
manipulation?
electrical discharges, so...
Right, so I mean, yeah.
There's some sort of theme there, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
I like the idea that it makes a melee spell ranged.
Yes!
Specifically one that prevents creatures from taking reactions.
That
As
could
a
be really
support player, I can totally use this as a way for my allies to get out of a sticky situation. You know, which is pretty cool. The option to be able to change an ability, a spell from lightning to thunder, is really cool as well. This really is an item to fit that. I want to play a thunder and lightning themed person like Storm from X-Men or something.
Which is surprisingly harder to do than you would think, despite an archetype being built for it.
yeah. I mean, there's that means you could even, with some of the higher level spells that are like, that one spell that's super damage, it's like the Meteor Storm or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
that's a
like
good
that.
one.
Well, now, because it's fire
It's
damage.
Nebula
and it's
Storm.
Wait, suddenly infinitely more dangerous because now it's not a fire damage type anymore.
Right.
Which is commonly resisted by a lot of
resisted.
things.
Yep.
So now,
Yeah, but the thing hits with so much fire, though, it doesn't really matter.
yeah.
Well, still, even if you hit half
Yeah.
resistance is huge.
Yeah. So,
I think it's pretty
pretty good.
cool. I thought it was. That's why I included it. Bonus Action does a lot of good stuff on Instagram, so you should follow him. Some of his stuff isn't worded appropriately, like if you read some of the WotC format, but that's okay. You can still use it to bring these magic items to life.
Right. So, not bad. I liked it.
Love it. That'll do it for our magic item.
The Scepter of the Blue Nebula.
Our dungeon master tip of the podcast is monstrous features. As DMs, we often want to spice up our monsters a little bit. Who
Always.
doesn't want to do that? And honestly, a great way to do this is to change spells that exist into monster features.
Yo.
I feel like that's such a good way to do it.
Yes, and it works really, really well. I've been
Burning
doing
hands
this.
is now fire breath.
What's that?
Burning hands is now fire breath.
Yeah. Yes.
Fantastic.
You as a DM, leveraging a spell as a different feature makes it easier to create monster variants. That's what I do. Right? You don't need a imp that can cast Firebolt. You have an imp that casts Fire Blast. And it's Firebolt at the 3rd level or whatever the 3rd rank is, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And you just treat it as that. Or you mentioned a good one. The Burning Hands is now a Fire Breath attack. One of my favorites, one of my very first monster variants was a smack talking imp, right? Did a lot of smack talking and dropped rocks, and that was cool. But what I gave it was a new feature like hideous, I can't remember what it's called, like diabolical laugh or something like that. And all
Yeah,
it
I
was
think
was
so.
the Bane effect.
Yep.
But I didn't give it Bane. I didn't say I'm casting Bane. I described him cackling and insulting the people and poofy, you're constantly distracted. And all it was is I took a spell and converted it to a monster feature. And it's easier to balance that way because there's rules for what sorts of spells monsters should have. And more importantly, you don't have to worry about spell slots. You either make it, they can use it all the time, or it's got a number of uses or it recharges. That's
Yeah.
it. So it saves a lot of work. What do you guys think about this?
I think this is probably one of the better Dungeon Master tips when it comes to making unique monsters. Because it really is, it can be this simple.
And it opens up you already have the book that's got hundreds and hundreds of spells in it. It opens it up quite a bit.
I'm pretty sure if I go through this, it'll take me a while, and then I'll just be like, yep, flesh to stone. We're going to make this thing
Make it
where
up.
now it has a Medusa effect.
Ooh, nice.
Great.
Yep.
And all I did was flip through this. I
Which
flipped
you
through a
can
list.
get at critacademy.com.
Yeah. So,
Words of
Shameless
power.
plug.
This is my show. I think I can count it.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about the full page art? That was an addition
I
to the
l-
print copy.
I like that.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
only in the
really
print
pretty.
copy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, shameless plug again. on
That's
my own show.
okay. It's okay.
All right. So, do you guys have any other comments on the monstrous features?
Nope.
Pretty simple, straightforward, and it makes a lot of sense.
And it's easy to balance because there's rules for spells. All right, instead of
Yeah.
trying to make it up yourself, which is harder to balance.
Yep.
All right, that'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip, monstrous features.
Yay.
Our player tip of the podcast is
Don't be a dick!
And you can avoid dickitude by studying on that martial training, an ally in the wind. So, if anybody ever pays attention, I have been reading through the Stormlight Archives again because
Of course you are.
the newest book comes out at the end of the month, so I'm on like my 6th time through. Book series is amazing, my
Woohoo.
favorite by far. Anyways,
That reminds me, Peace Talks for the Dresden Files comes out this week, too.
it does it?
Yeah.
Is that a good one?
Well, it's book 16, so...
It must be all right. All right, so what is this? So in the Stormlight Archives, the Radiants have these powerful spirits that follow them around called Spren, and that grants them an advantage. And I was like, is there an easy way to do this for a martial character in 5th edition? Guess what? There is. So it starts with picking a human variant. Starting at level 1, you're going to want this variant so you can get the feat.
Yeah, I kind of need this pretty often when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah. So yeah, the human variant just gives so much versatility.
Yeah.
The class you're going to be is the fighter battle master. Now the battle master isn't required. You can do this without it, but it certainly does help.
Yep.
And then the core skills you're going to focus on are a goading attack and the protection fighting style. And what you're going to do with your new feat, you're going to take the magic initiate and get the find familiar owl. Now, once again, the owl is your little spirit, your guardian, your ally on the wind, so to speak. And its sole goal is to grant you advantage on every fight. Now, that's a help action for you every time. That's advantage on almost every single attack or every first attack or whatever that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason for the goading and the fighting style protection is so that if the enemy tries to attack your owl,
Yeah, you can-
and it can't get away, you can impose disadvantage on those attacks, increasing the life, because it'll last 8 hours on its own.
Yeah.
But once it's done, you only get it once, so you got to make it count. But the goal here is to help you grant advantage as often as possible. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I mean, this is interesting because I've never really thought about it like that. Like, this is literally just something that will literally just give you the help action nonstop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fighters love that shit.
Yes, they do.
Right.
Especially when they can start hitting at, end game stuff. This will help you throughout the entirety of your character.
Yes.
This will never not stop helping you. So,
might-
even by the time you're level, I think it's 18 or something for your 4th extra attack,
That's still one attack with advantage every turn.
Yep.
this is really good. Like, especially if you're even if you decided you didn't want to be like a battle master on here, you can definitely just be like a champion.
Yep.
Now with that increased crit range, you have an advantage
Ooh.
on this attack that shouldn't really need advantage because it's gonna hurt.
Falcon, punch!
And I love it. You're right. Increasing that crit range is definitely and chance with advantage.
So-
Controlled advantage is fantastic.
Definitely a very strong tool for sure.
So, what do you think, Ian?
Yeah, awesome hit on the head. Lots of
Yeah.
good options you can pull from this.
Yeah. This is my Kaladin Stormblast. To get even fancier, if you pick a polearm as your weapon and take the polearm mastery and stuff,
Oh, my
oh
goodness.
man, it's just glorious. It's a glorious thing.
A lot of stuff you can do with this.
So I think that'll do it for our player tip of the podcast.
Don't be a dick.
And you can avoid dickitude by mastering that martial training, picking up an ally in the wind. Woo!
Yeah.
Well, that is our show today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did.
Yeah, of course.
I want to take this moment to thank everybody that supports our show, whether you just follow us, you listen to us, you watch us live. You guys are awesome. You have made our show capable of doing so much things. We've released so many products, and we're taking our next step into our Kickstarter. I actually just shared with you guys the preview page.
Yeah.
So expect some news on that. Thank everyone again who did fill out the survey. It really helped guide the process. Which, by the way, Kickstarters are hard and suck. I'm not even started
I
yet.
feel like I've heard that many times.
So that being said, thank you guys so much for all your support. Everyone who purchases stuff on our page, who likes us and shares our content. We are nearing 5,000 followers on Facebook, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, it's really
So
cool.
Thank you guys so much.
I feel like it hasn't even been that long since we've been at 4,000, honestly.
Yeah, we were under 4,000 at the beginning of the year. So we've gotten almost 1,000 since the start. So considering we've been running since 2006, 4 years, that's a significant amount of growth in a small amount of time.
2016, yes.
What did I say?
2006.
Yeah, I was way off there. So
By a whole decade.
yeah, that's all right. Who cares? Anyways, so thank you. And with that, I would hope you will join us on our next episode. Keith Amon joins us. If you sounds like that name's familiar, that's because he wrote the Monsters Know What They're Doing books, or book, and it is awesome. He is going to come and talk to us about Live to Tell the Tale, combat tactics for player characters.
And I got a chance to read this because I work at Barnes & Noble, and my manager literally handed me the book and said, hey, this might interest you. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And
right.
very good stuff in there.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. What's hilarious is when he texted that, this would be a good thing to talk about. I literally was like, yeah, I just got the confirmation to have him on the show.
I was like, oh, okay,
cool. It was
cool.
awesome.
Very weird coincidence.
Yeah, so I'm really, really excited for that. So please join us. Tell all your friends. Share it on your Facebook. We want as many people watching this as we can. We want to make this guy feel welcome here at Crit Nation. So.
Absolutely. If you have any feedback, unearthed tips and tricks, or topics you would like us to discuss, please send them to us. You can email them to us at critacademy@gmail.com or find us pretty much anywhere at Crit Academy. I say anywhere because we're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I think I've landed most of those on the head.
Every single podcasting platform you can think of.
Yeah.
Even Spotify.
It's pretty hard not to find us if you just type in Crit Academy. So
that's true. I heard I got a little birdie in the mail from Chartable that said we are in the top 100 list of hobby podcasts.
Heck yeah.
Like 76 or something.
Pretty good.
Not sure how that happened, but hey.
You're just like, I don't know.
There we go.
Cool.
All right.
Somebody's listening to us.
And not on my list of accomplishments.
Right. Now to number one.
Right.
Alrighty then. We hope you enjoyed your experience here at Crit Academy. If you did, you can help others find the show by leaving a, hopefully, 5-star review on iTunes or your platform of choice. Or you can just send us a message to much how much you enjoy the show. We love that too. Because we're vain. Also, be sure to give us a like and a share.
Yeah, it's true. We've been getting quite a few different reviews. You could be just like DC Griffin. Clearly some passionate fans of RPG games. Love the bits about improving your sessions as DM. Keep up the great content.
Yeah, I feel like being a DM is a hard responsibility sometimes, so I'm glad we can actually help people about it.
Yeah, it is. It can seem like a big task, and it's a lot of work, but it's not as hard as you would imagine.
Yeah.
It seems more... It's like jumping into a dark pool that you can't see the bottom, but once you land in it and realize it's only waist high, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Also, you can be like, nicknames are dumb. Love it. Great source to spark a bit of creativity for your games. Love the monster variants too. Keep my players guessing and groaning.
Wow, we have DM Adam fooled. These guys are great. They are super knowledgeable about D&D, and they put a lot of thought into their great content as well.
We got you fooled.
You know how many times we look up this stuff during the show? Come on, dude.
Oh
There's
my
literal
God.
video evidence of us like, Ian, look it up.
Ian, what are you going to find this out for me? All right.
Ian, is the Tarrasca Beast or not?
And the worst part is, 5th edition is more rules-like compared to other editions.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, all right, so
Glad we helped you.
make sure to subscribe to our show at critacademy.com. Follow us on
geez.
Twitch. Please subscribe on YouTube. We want to get to that 1,000
Like
subscribers,
yeah.
because then it starts to help us really get the ball rolling so more people can find our content.
Yep.
Also, you can get notified when we go live and all that jazz, so we can help you on your future adventures. Also, signing up lets you win or enters you to win cool prizes each and every week. And also make sure to check out our fellowship members. If you have not followed Gabe and Jeff and listened to them, those guys are awesome over there at Interparty Conflict. I know some of our patrons in our chat were just telling us that they finally started listening to them, and they're loving it, and they should. The content's great. Also, head on over and check out Game Master Stash. on Facebook. Their stuff is phenomenal, and they put out so much content, and it is very system agnostic. So you can usually take their ideas and pluck them in any setting you want.
Right.
So I think that'll do it for our show today. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
And I'm your co-host, Ian. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes.
Yeah.